everybody. So it's the Monday before Thanksgiving, which is unbelievable to me that we have already gotten to this point in the year. It feels like it's gone slower and quicker than I ever could have imagined. So I thought, since we were coming up on Thanksgiving, and I know this is going to be a hard one for a lot of people who can't be together with those that they care about most, I thought maybe we would talk about the idea of gratitude, which is what Thanksgiving is all about, right? And there have been a number of books written because there is science that proves that being grateful and practicing gratitude actually makes us happier people. It makes you count your blessings. It makes you think about what's important. And so this has become a thing, luckily, in culture where people are focusing on cultivating their own gratitude for the things that they have. And I think that's especially important in a year like this, where it's so easy to get caught up in all of the bad things and the hard things that we're dealing with, to try and really focus on what's good and what we have, and even the things that maybe we took for granted before all of this, right? I know I have a million things I took for granted. So I will tell you that I practice gratitude in a certain way. I have what I call a good things jar, and I've seen this idea other places. That's just my silly name for it. But so each year I have a jar that I keep a notepad next to, and as I am going about my day-to-day life, I write down the little good things that happen on slips of paper, and I fold them up and put them in the jar. And then on New Year's Eve, I open the jar and I read them all. I do that partly because I think New Year's Eve is sort of anticlimactic and it's never been one of my favorite holidays. And this is something that I really look forward to and focuses me on all of the good that's happened. Because I think particularly as a year flies by, it's very easy to focus on the bad things that happened, or just to forget the little great wins that we have some days. And they may not be major things, but things that made us smile, things that made us happy. And I will tell you that I look forward to New Year's Eve now very much. And I think it has made me a happier person. So maybe that's an idea, but there are a million different ways to do this. I thought we would talk about a few books. I don't have them in front of me, but I have titles and authors. I will happily put photos of the covers at the end of this talk, so that if you are interested, they are all available in the Mid-Hudson catalog. I think some is ebooks and some is all is print books for sure. You can get them by requesting them and then coming to do curbside pickup with us. So the first book I wanted to talk about is, I'm sorry for my look down, I'm just looking at notes, is called Thanks: How the New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier. And it's by Robert Emmons. And so this book aims to teach and inspire, and it covers like literature and psychology and religion and anthropology, kind of human nature sort of stuff. So there's some scientific explanation behind it, which I think is that's why I'm starting with it. I think it's a good baseline to establish that there is scientific evidence that this is true. It's not just a feel-good, silly thing. It actually has been proven to work. And so you can learn about why gratitude is important to you in your daily life and to us as human beings. And so I think this is a good place to start and to ground you in some psychology and factual things about the science of gratitude. So that one's called Thanks. And I will put the cover up at the end. The next book that I found in our system that I think is wonderful is called The Gratitude Diaries. And the subtitle is How a Year Looking on the Bright Side Can Transform Your Life. And the author of this one is Janice Kaplan. This was a New York Times bestseller book, and it's about one woman's efforts to keep a New Year's resolution of being more grateful and optimistic. And so I think this one I put next because I feel like it's a little more aimed at our casual readers, people who maybe aren't as interested in the psychology and the cultural anthropology of gratitude, but just kind of want to see the real life application of it and how somebody practiced this and the difference that it made for them. So this book is her story. It's really well written. Lots and lots of people read it at one point, but I feel like it's a great thing to bring it back up to the surface in case you missed it that first time around. And maybe it will inspire your own gratitude journey, which would be a wonderful thing, right? So the next book that I found is called 365 Thank Yous: The Year A Simple Act of Daily Gratitude Changed My Life, by John Kralik. And he has a number of books on gratitude, actually. This one just looked to me the most interesting. So he's an attorney, and this is his life story, or at least part of it. He was dealing with a lot of depression at one point in his life. He was very sad and burnt out at work and just not having a great time in his life. And so he decided to just start writing thank you notes to people. And so he wrote, I believe, at least one a day, which is the 365 thank yous. And I will give you, they're not just one-off, like little, oh, thanks kind of notes. They're meaningful, and they took time to write, and they were heartfelt. And I think that's part of it too. You can't really pay lip service to gratitude. I think if you want to get the effects out of it, it's just like anything else in life. You get out what you put in, right? So the more effort and time you put into these thank yous, the more difference it's going to make for you in your heart and in the world around us. So don't do it if you're only going to halfway do it. You know, you want to really buy into it and try it, even if it feels silly or extra. I think it's a good idea to try it and really put your whole self into it. And so he started writing these thank you notes, and it changed his life. This is not to say that somebody dealing with, you know, a clinical depression cannot just lift themselves out of it by writing thank you notes. So let's not, you know, gloss over the fact that that's a serious mental health issue, and there are other things that need to happen too. But I think for many of us who are just in a funk, and I do think we're all sort of dealing with a bit of low-grade depression right now, given the world around us and the circumstances of COVID and the things that are happening in our environment and in our government, and it's a hard time, right? And it feels very uncertain and very scary. And so I think taking control of what you can and writing simple thank you notes to let the people in your life know that they matter, know that they made a difference, know that they're important and that they're seen. I think these things have great power. So if you're interested in seeing how it went for him, and spoiler alert, it went really well, which is a great feel-good kind of story, check out 365 Thank Yous. And then the last book I wanted to end with, I don't think you can talk about gratitude without mentioning Oliver Sacks. So he was a prolific author and a respected neurologist as well. And he wrote this book called Gratitude. But the deal is, it was as initially a series of 4 essays that were in the New York Times, where he was announced that he was diagnosed with terminal cancer in January of 2015. And he wrote an initial essay, and then he wrote 3 others, and they collected them along with photos and some other stories, and they put them into this book called Gratitude. But it's heart-wrenching and thought-provoking, and I had recommended a while ago The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. It's, I think, along those lines, in my opinion, which is, it's a terribly sad story because you know the ending. You know that they're not going to live, and that they're dying from a disease, and that they're being taken too soon, and it feels unfair. But both of them, Randy Pausch and Oliver Sacks, found a great deal of comfort in the gratitude that they had for the life they'd been given. And they kind of really lived every last minute of it and used that to better the world. And so while it's gut-wrenching and hard to read in some parts, and you feel kind of maybe sad about it, I think it's also a great reminder that hopefully when we reach the point where we each know that our end is coming, we feel more than anything an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the life that we've had. That's the hope, at least in my book it is, that we've made a difference and that we have had a wonderful experience here and changed people's lives, hopefully. So I think Oliver Sacks's book, while kind of sad, is a great bookend to this discussion, because faced with the hardest circumstances you can be faced with, right? He found gratitude in that and thankfulness for the life he had lived. And so I will end on that note. I know it's a little sad, but I think that these are a really great discussion, actually, about how we can count our own blessings every day, not just on Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is a great time to start, because that's what the holiday is about, right? And particularly for family and friendships and relationships that have been strained during this and people were missing, what better way than maybe write them a letter, let them know you're missing them, that you love them, and that you're thankful they're in their life. So I hope that you all have a lovely Thanksgiving, and I hope that it is filled with gratitude for the good things that you have and the luck that you have in your own life, and care for others and for those who maybe aren't as lucky as you are, or I am. I know I feel very lucky this year and always for the life that I'm living. So I hope that you all feel the same, and have a wonderful holiday, and we will be back next week. We have lots of fun things coming in the month of December, but check out a book, whether it's one of these or a different one. If you need a recommendation, feel free to ask, and keep your eye out for our newsletter that's going to come out at the end of December with lots of fun activities for over these winter months. And we miss you very much, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.